Um, Welcome back. Technically, yes. So, and this is why there's timestamps. So, if you're not interested in the intro and in why this is my first video today, you can go ahead and skip it. We were up at 4 in the morning this morning. We were at the airport for 5 in the morning. We were on the plane at 7. We got home at about 2 in the afternoon. I think I've had 8 hours sleep combined over the last 2 nights. Um, During the descent today, I ended up with my ear plugged. I have ringing in it, so I have tinnitus right now, which is fun. That should clear up by itself. So it's been a day, very tired. So I'm going to apologize up front for anything I might mispronounce, for anything I might say that's wrong, if I put a player with the wrong team, a team on the board that's not actually playing tonight. And by which I mean, like if I called the Flyers the Penguins, for instance, I will apologize straight up. I will be sleeping tonight, and I have some things to discuss before I go to sleep, meaning after I'm done this video. I'm going to record another video because there's something that's been on my mind. One thing with having the week off, I've been consuming more of the hockey media. I haven't really been, doing videos because I recorded all those videos before I left. And that was kind of intentional to kind of refresh and get a bit of a break and a bit of a view from the outside. And yeah, there's some stuff I want to discuss. That being said, let us jump in now with the New York Islanders and the Philadelphia Flyers. So it was Varlamov versus Hart, and of course the big news in this one, the debut of Bo Horvat. Horvat wearing number 14. I thought he played well. They won more faceoffs than Philadelphia. It's one thing to keep an eye on is the Islanders and how they do in faceoffs. As Horvat becomes more and more comfortable with the Islanders and Lane Lambert gets more comfortable with playing him, his faceoff numbers are probably going to improve. So, and he was 53% on the faceoffs tonight. So yeah, Varlamov versus Hart. Provorov prevents an early goal. The Islanders end up drawing an early power play, however. The Flyers, though, they didn't allow a setup. They do kill that off. The fans call one, the referee doesn't. That's commonly a thing. Palmieri has a rush chance. That's held. Cizikas in close. He has a chance. That's held. It's all Islanders at this point. However, then York has a rush chance. That would deflect out. Konechny to JVR. Near miss there. The Islanders press at 9 minutes, and they're leading in shots at this point, 9-4. Dobson has a blasted save. There's more pressure by the Islanders. They draw themselves a second power play. They score on this one. It's Palmieri from Bailey and Aho at 17:07. And then in the final minute, there was some pressure by the Flyers. But after the first period, the score is 1-0 Islanders. Second period, Nelson fans on one. The Flyers rush. There's a power play for the Flyers. That's killed off. Shots are 4-0 Philadelphia at 5.5 minutes. Delorier was denied as the Flyers press. And then Barzal makes it 2-0. He scores from Dobson and Nelson at 8:18. That was the second shot of that period for the Islanders. The Islanders then look for another, and it was like right after the first shot as well. But the Islanders look for another. However, the Flyers would answer. It's Delorier from D'Angelo and Sealer at 10:39, and he tips a shot on a good press. One thing I've always said about Delorier, yes, he's an enforcer. Yes, he's known for, dropping the gloves. But he can play a regular shift, and he's actually had some seasons where his goal scoring, again, comparatively speaking, when we talk about goons and enforcers, it's not bad. It's not a bad player. So, the Islanders then get a power play. That's killed off. That was the end of their power plays for the night. Martin couldn't bury one in close. There's a press by the Islanders with 4.5 minutes left. York has a chance that deflects out in the final minute. It's 2-1 Islanders going to the third. Third period, early jump for the Islanders. There's a post for Dobson on a point shot. The shots are only 2 apiece at 6 minutes. So one thing that I felt with having Horvat in the lineup, what I thought it did for them is it helped to aid their puck control game and their ability to just shut a game down, right? So Frost has a net feed that's held. The Islanders press at 6.5 minutes. The Mayfield has a shot that's held. There's some momentum for the Islanders. The Flyers then press. They're kept to the outside. Goalie pull happens with 2 minutes and 58 seconds left. Timeouts called by Philadelphia with a minute left. They're unable to tie it. Your final score is 2-1 for the Islanders. They go to 26-22-5 on the season. The Flyers 21-22-9. So this, of course, first game out of the break. Here we are. Shots in this one, 15-7 Islanders in the first, 11-8 Flyers in the second, 8-7 Flyers in the third. Final shots, 30-26 for the Islanders. Power plays, the Islanders 1 for 3. Philadelphia 0 for 2. Hits, 32-27 for Philadelphia. Varlamov saves 25 out of 26. He was very good. So was Carter Hart, 28 saves on 30 shots. And I mean, Provorov pulls that one out from behind him early in the game, or else it would have been 27 saves on 30 shots. All right, next up, Tampa Bay. So this is the amazing thing, right? We're coming out of the All-Star break, and we always talk about it, and it does kind of sound like it's a cliche. Like, well, we'll see what happens after the All-Star break. But this reset works for some teams. Maybe it's worked for Florida. So I'm wearing Florida gear because maybe it's their turn. Vasilevsky versus Bobrovsky. The Bolts had the early jump. Panthers press. They couldn't get to the net. The shots on net are 4-1 for Tampa. 4.5 minutes into this one. Tkachuk has a net drive that's held. The shots even up as the momentum shifts, and eventually Florida scores. There's that first mess up that I've caught. Verhaeghe scores that one from Tkachuk at 8:04. It's a cross ice pass and it's buried. No chance there for Vasilevsky. I could say that on almost every goal tonight by Florida. Panthers press for another. Forsling has a blast that saved. The Bolts cleared out. Mesnikov exited after a Gudis hit. Didn't see him the rest of the game. Colton's denied on a fast break. It's 1-0 Florida after one. Second period. Barkov was denied on a rush. Bennett was not. He would score at 1:42 from Tkachuk and Ekblad. But Tampa Bay answers relatively quickly at 3:02. From the point, during a nice press by Tampa, Kucherov scores from Sergachev and point. Panthers press. That draws them a power play. That leads to a shorthanded Hagel rush that kills some time. Now, after the power play's done, Florida restores the 2-goal lead. It's Tkachuk from Verhaeghe and Bennett at 8:40, and he bats that one out of the air. It's a goal scorer's goal. I always think that's a funny tone. It's a goal scorer's goal. Well, if he scores, he's a goal scorer. So anyways, it's just one of those things that's odd. I know what it means. Bolts get a power play. Kucherov fires one high and wide. Forsling, shot blocking. He had to be bruised up at the end of tonight. He was shot blocking a lot. Because that power play was killed off, and Tampa Bay gets another power play. Out goes Forsling. He blocks some more shots. Gudis clears it out. Barkov exited on a block as well. So kind of an expensive game when you consider injuries in this one. Panthers kill that off. Things get pushy on a hold by Vasilevsky. And then Lusterinen deflects one in front. He scores that one from Montour and Verhaeghe at 17:56. Believe that's a 10-game point streak for Montour, who was red hot going into the break. Apparently he's kept that up. So after two periods, it is 4-1 for Florida. Third period, early press by the Bolts. Point has a rush that's blocked and cleared, and then a stretch pass to him was just a near miss. And then Stahl makes it 5-1 at 2:53. Did I say 4-0? 4-1. But yeah, Eric Stahl scores at 2:53, and then at 5:26, Verhaeghe scores from Tkachuk. Well, Florida fans who remember, they start chanting, "We want 10," as they got 9 goals in that game. I want to say 2 years ago against Tampa, but it may have been last season. But yeah, they wanted 10, and I thought, you guys are at 6. There's 15 minutes left. Probably not going to get 10. But I admire the enthusiasm. So the shots are 6-3 for Tampa Bay with 8.5 minutes left. 2 of those 3 shots for Florida went in the net. Stamkos and Montour have a little chat. That leads to everybody in the ace having a little chat and getting some pushy and huggy going on. Lomberg has a slot chance that's held. We get a power play for the Panthers. They score on it. It's Tkachuk from Bennett and Ekblad at 14:23. He tips that one from the side of the net, and that ensured that we would have the no mercy magnet on the board in the first game of action after the All-Star break. Florida goes 25-22-6 with the win, considering what the Islanders did to get into a tie with Pittsburgh for that final playoff spot. A must-win for Florida. They're all really important games now. For Tampa Bay, 32-16-1 with the loss. This is a tough one, but it's only one game. Shots 17-11 Florida in the first, 23-14 Florida in the second. You can't give them 40 shots in the first 2 periods. And then 9-8 Florida in the third. Final shots 49-33 for Florida. Power plays, Tampa Bay 0 for 2. Florida 1 for 2. The hits 19-13 Florida. Vasilevsky saved 42 out of 49. And Bobrovsky saved 32 out of 33. So, rough night for Tampa. But again, you can kind of brush that off and go, it's one game. We'll see how it goes in the next one. Speaking of the next one, Calgary in against the New York Rangers. So it was Markstrom versus Halak in this one. Shots, hard to come by. First 5 minutes, there was only 1 for each team. Lewis has a rush chance that's held. And then Hedl. Hedl's red hot going into the break. He's red hot coming out. Kakko and Fox with the assists at 5:37. Toffoli nearly answers. The Flames, they draw themselves a power play. The Rangers kill that off. Teams exchange takeaways. Miller has a rush chance. That's held. And then Coleman buries one on a good net feed. Mangiapane at 10:25 with the assist. That ties the game at 1. Lindgren has a screenshot that's saved. We had a fight between Tanev and Trouba. The Rangers end up coming out of that with a power play. Shorthanded Zadorov chance deflects out. That power play's killed off. 3:44 left. The Rangers go back to the power play. They did a long review to see what else was going on the play. In the end, it doesn't matter what they did or didn't call because it's still the same manpower advantage. The Rangers still have the power play. So that was killed off. There's lots of dislike in this one. If you were watching this one in a vacuum, you might think there was this great rivalry between Calgary and the Rangers because, boy, these teams didn't like each other by the end of the night. So it's 1-1 after one. Second period, early jump for the Flames. Backlund can't bury one in close, and then there's a turnover, and on a breakaway, Hedl scores at 2:02. So 2 goals for the Rangers, both by Hedl. He's never had a hat trick in his career, apparently, so doesn't happen tonight either. Spoiler alert. Post for Hanifin then as the Flames press. Hanifin, I thought, had a decent game here. Backlund hits the other post during that same shift. Dubé was then denied from the slot. VC's robbed. The Rangers get some momentum, but the Flames end up getting a power play, and they score on it. It's Toffoli from Anderson at 16:25. It was a good cycle, and he wires it. Then Dubé and Trouba had a little bit of a fight after a hit on Kadri, which Dubé decided he had to come in and defend. And you know, for Trouba, I will say he's willing to drop the gloves, but yeah, the hit on Kadri, I was kind of surprised Kadri didn't get up and fight him anyways. But the Rangers come out of that with a power play because Dubé came in and jumped in. So Zibanejad scores on that power play from Kreider and Panarin at 19:46. So Zibanejad picking things up. And so the score after 2 periods is 3-2 in favor of Calgary. Or in favor of the Rangers, sorry. The reason that Calgary's on the brain is because going to the third, they mentioned they were 0-11-1 trailing after 2. And I thought, you know, when they could talk about this during broadcast, for some reason, very often, that's when the 0 becomes a 1, right? So Pelche has a chance to deflect out. Backlund has a shot deflect wide. The Rangers blocking pretty well at this point in the game. Mangiapane scores. Looked like a kick to me, so they review it. It counts. It's Mangiapane from Hanifin and Backlund at 6:40, and then the Flames get the lead. It's Stone, who had, I think, 4 of the 5 hardest shots in tonight's game. From Backlund and Coleman at 8:41. I have to say, too, I would love to see in games, and I mean, we always see all these graphics and all this stuff that you're inundated with. I would love to see a chart in every game of who's had the hardest shots. Not necessarily the hardest shots to hit the net, but who's hit the puck the hardest, right? Those two are not necessarily the same. The guy who shoots the hardest is not always the most accurate. So at any rate, Stone gets that one, but the Rangers get it back. It's Zibanejad from Panarin at 12:55. He buries that one on a turnover. Markstrom was upset on that one because, you know, it was a turnover in their own zone and it's in their net pretty quickly. Dubé then had a rush chance that's held. The Flames draw a power play. The Rangers kill that off. We're going overtime. Panarin and Hedl were denied in overtime by Markstrom. Rangers force a turnover and then they hand it back. Mika's then denied on a 2-on-1, but then Lafreniere buries the rebound. Zibanejad with the assist at 1:37. So the Rangers had some prime opportunities. Not much Markstrom can do. He is human. The final score in this one's 5-4 in overtime for the Rangers. They go to 28-14-8. For the Flames, that's 24-17-10. 10 points from overtime and shootout losses for Calgary. They do pull 1 point ahead of Colorado, right? Shots in this one, 12-10 Calgary in the first, 12-9 Calgary in the second, 9-8 Rangers in the third, and 5-0 Rangers in the overtime. Final shots, 33-32 for the Rangers. Power plays, both teams 1 for 3. Hits, 25-25. Markstrom saves 28 out of 33. Halak saves 28 out of 32. This was an exciting game, relatively even game, and one that these teams came out of it really not liking each other at all. Just no. Valentine's Day, they will not exchange any cards. That's my prediction. But Vancouver and New Jersey was a bit of a different game, even though what you're seeing on the board is very similar. Let's go ahead and discuss. So it's Delia versus Vanacek. I'm going to say again what I've been saying this season, what I've said in previous seasons. I don't understand why Colin Delia has never had a regular job in the NHL. I'm hoping this run with Vancouver, especially in the event that they trade Demko, which there's more and more rumors about Demko maybe wanting out and the Canucks being willing to move him. So Demko being gone may very well become a thing. But if Delia became the backup goaltender for Vancouver or whatever they decided to do, I think I'd kind of support it. So Beauvillier making his debut. I thought Beauvillier played well. I also think that with Horvat gone, that's some uncertainty gone off Vancouver. And I think we could see the Canucks have this rebound effect where they start winning some games, or at least being competitive in games they weren't expected to, because some of that tension and some of that uncertainty about who's going to get traded, who's not, kind of dissipates with each move. So early press by the Canucks, and at 3:35, Kuzmenko on a fantastic deke, which is nice because, you know, he does get a lot of tip-in goals, and it doesn't seem very exciting. This was a fun one. He scores from Pettersson and Shen. So Pettersson's going to dish like that, and Kuzmenko's going to finish like that. It's going to be fun watching these guys together for years. Shots are only 2 apiece at 5.5 minutes. Graves has a screenshot that's saved. The rebound's cleared. Devils with momentum, but Delia is solid to this point. He sure couldn't bury the goal that would have been number 100 in close. He almost did, but Delia again, very good. Canucks press with 9 minutes left. The Devils press, but they're kept to the outside. However, the Devils are very good offensively. Hughes ends up scoring from Zetterlund and Hamilton at 17:48. That starts the MVP chance for Jack Hughes that we've been seeing for him this season. I can't argue that if he ends up winning the Hart, he doesn't deserve the Hart. Beauvillier nearly replies, though. So after one period, the score is 1-1. Second period, Bratt nearly buries one on a fast break. Great goaltending by both teams thus far. Severson has a chance that's held. The shots on net are only 2-1 in favor of the Devils at 6 minutes. Pressed by the Canucks at 8 minutes. Graves then had a screenshot that was held. But then Palat tips one in at 9:27 and follows that up by scoring again 28 seconds later. So Palat's made it 3-1. And feels like, okay, the Canucks got to bounce back. You got to watch that shift after a goal. And they scored again. It's a great forecheck that was employed by New Jersey, and they do score. It's Hughes with his second of the game from Zetterlund and Severson. That's at 10:17. So it's 4-1, and at that point I was expecting another no mercy magnet here because the Canucks are all out of sorts, which, again, we're probably going to see that the rest of this way. They're going to be very unpredictable. However, Devils get a power play. That's killed off, and it felt like that kind of changed the momentum a little bit. Pressed by the Devils with 5.5 minutes left, but at 15:28, Luke Shen scores from Ekman, Larson, and Garland, which I thought was interesting because, of course, these are three players I'm pretty sure all played in Arizona under Rick Tocchet together, and so gets the Arizona guys out there and they score for him. So the Canucks draw a power play with 3:20 left. It's a pretty aggressive penalty kill. Kuzmenko's denied. The Devils do kill that off, but in the final minute, Lazar finally gets it's his first in 37 games. So good on Lazar. He finally gets one. That's assisted by Stillman and Garland at 19:33, and things get kind of pushy at the horn. So after 2 periods, it's 4-3, and you could see the Devils were a little bit frustrated late there. So third period, Severson not on the bench, but he would return early in the third period. Devils press at 3 minutes. There's a near miss for Beauvillier, so he was generating tonight. And then Di Giuseppe scored his first in, I want to say 710 days is what they said on there. Ekman, Larson, and Miller with the assists at 6:02. And it was nice to see Di Giuseppe get a goal. I'm a fan, and so it's nice to see that. Bears then denied as the Canucks are pressing, looking for the lead, which who would have thought that when they were down 4-1, allowing 3 goals in 50 seconds, which I think is the second fastest 3 goals in the history of the Devils. Yeah. Power play for the Devils. It becomes 5-on-3 for 36 seconds. That was killed off. Maybe Horvat was the problem with the Canucks penalty kill? No idea. I'm as open to any idea as anybody else. Joshua was then denied on a net drive. He wanted a call there. There were missed calls both ways. Not even going to try to make that argument. There were missed calls on both sides. But Joshua, I thought, had a decent game. Beauvillier then had a rush chance that was saved, but we're going to overtime. Devils controlled early. Bratt can't bury one, but he keeps the puck. The Canucks steal, but they lost it again. So they stole the puck. They didn't actually have it long enough either to get the line change in the first time. They did get the line change in the second time, but they weren't able to generate a shot. Beauvillier fires one wide, and then Hughes is robbed on a break. Devils draw a power play, and you knew once that power play was going for the Devils, there's no way they're not going to score, and they do. It's Bratt from Hughes and Hamilton at 4:18. So the Devils survive a bit of a scare tonight. They win 5-4 in overtime. They go to 33-13-4 with the win for Vancouver, 20-26-4 with the loss. The shots in this one, 13-12 New Jersey in the first, 10-8 Vancouver in the second, 9-8 New Jersey in the third, 4-0 New Jersey in the overtime. Final shots 34-30 for the Devils. Power plays, Vancouver 0 for 1, New Jersey 1 for 4. The hits 33-15 for Vancouver. Delia saves 29 out of 34. Vanacek 26 out of 30. And again, we'll see what happens with the Canucks from here. But hey, they were entertaining tonight, and that's really what you want to see. If you're a Canuck fan, The losses are good because it gives you a better chance at that higher draft pick, but you want the team to still be entertaining and to see guys like Pettersson and Kuzmenko enjoying themselves. So there you go. We need to change boards. All right, so I'll go ahead and move this over here. I got this in Disneyland. It's just me watching I just saw this and it says me watching the drama unfold, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what happens with the NHL, isn't it? Especially since I was watching and not doing videos this past week, just watching all this and going, wow, really? That interesting. So Anaheim and Dallas. Speaking of interesting, the extra time jinx, is it over for Dallas? We'll see. This is Anaheim. It's Anaheim. So it's Gibson versus Ottinger in this one, and it was game number 1,000 for Jamie Benn. Stars press at 4.5 minutes. They're kept to the outside. The shots on net are 4-1 for the Ducks, 6 minutes in. And at 8:08, Lundqvist wires one from in close. Faxa and Marchment with the assists. So Dallas, despite being outshot and outplayed to some extent to this point, end up ahead on the scoreboard. Stars then look for another. They have some momentum. Shots are 7 apiece with 9 minutes left. A warm welcome back for John Klingberg. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Klingberg was prominent and played a pretty good game for Anaheim tonight. I think being in Dallas, playing against, the team that he used to play for, in front of the fans that used to cheer him, and in front of the management that decided not to sign him, you go out there kind of wanting to prove him wrong, right? So, power play for the Stars. Hintz blasts one over the net. That was killed off. The Ducks get a power play. That becomes 142 of 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. There were a lot of power plays in this one. Second period. With Dallas up 1-0, early rush chances for both teams. The power play ends up happening for Anaheim, but Dallas does not let them set up. They kill that off. And then on a cross-ice pass, Rope Hintz just buries it. Gurianov with the assist, Robertson with the other at 7:35. It'd be nice to see Gurianov start getting points now that the All-Star break's done. Robertson then nearly adds another. So this could have got really ugly. It didn't, but it could have. Ducks press at 8.5 minutes. The shots are 8-4 for Anaheim with 8 minutes left. Or 6-4 for the Ducks with 8 minutes left. Marchment's denied and close. The hitting and the emotion are ramping up a little bit at this point. Although, again, not a lot of hitting overall in this game. Just at that point in the game, the emotions were definitely high. Robertson's denied on a turnover. We get some pushing after that. Power play for Dallas, that's killed off. 1:28 left. The Stars get a power play. And it's a 5-on-3 for the entirety of it as well. So that rolls over into the third. The Ducks do finish the kill. Leaves the Stars 0 for 5 in the game. And this is the danger, right? You get that 2 minutes of 5-on-3 and you don't score. Yes, you're up 2-0. Yes, it's the Ducks. But you don't want to lose that chance. Stars had the only shot on net 3.5 minutes in. Lundqvist has a rush chance that's saved. There's a crossbar for Marchment. Hintz to Pavelski, that's broken up. But the Ducks, they end up drawing a power play, and they score on it. It's Silverberg from Shattenkirk and Vetrano at 11:04. Tipped point shot. So Silverberg with the nice tip in front. And then at 12:30, so less than a minute and a half of game time, the Ducks tie it. Henrique from Zegras. He wires it from the slot. The Stars wanted a call on that play. They don't get it. The Ducks had the momentum. They were seeking the lead. We were going to overtime. In the overtime, the Stars controlled early. Robertson has a shot that's saved. The Ducks had a 2-on-1 that misfired. And then the Ducks draw a power play. And I just put, oh boy, right after that. Fowler has a shot that's blocked. The Stars clear it out. Lindell's denied on a shorthanded 2-on-1. Klingberg has a shot that's held. They do kill that off. We go to a shootout. In the shootout, it is Tyler Seguin who gets the winner. And so Dallas, they win in a shootout. They're 4-10 in extra time now, so they go to 29-13-10 overall. For the Ducks, 16-29-6 with the shootout loss. The shots in this one, 13-11 Dallas in the first, 18-9 Dallas in the second, 10-6 Anaheim in the third. Both teams had 4 shots in the overtime. Final shots, 41-34 Dallas. Power plays, Anaheim 1 for 4, Dallas 0 for 5, as I previously mentioned. Hits, 13-11 Dallas. Gibson saved 39 out of 41. Ottinger saved 32 out of 34. Both goalies were fantastic tonight. And so we'll see if Dallas can keep this up. Basically, it's been frustrating for me all season. Obviously, going into the break, Dallas lost 3 straight games in overtime. Seeing them get that extra point in the extra time, we'll see if that changes their fortunes at all. All right, and the last game of the night, Minnesota and the Anaheim Ducks. This game, I mean, if you're a Wild fan, you can't help but be discouraged. Now, not every team is going to come out of the All-Star break completely focused. We saw going into the All-Star break some teams just not focused and not playing well. But turning that switch on can be very difficult, right? So we'll see whether or not Minnesota can do that. So it's Fleury versus Vejmelka. The shots, not very many. There's only one apiece, 4.5 minutes in. Wild get a power play. That's killed off. The Coyotes then get a power play. There were a lot of power plays in this one, just an FYI. So Chychrun has a shot that's held. A net feed. DeBoyd is picked off. That was killed off. Coyotes draw another power play. That becomes 127 of 4-on-4. Everything is killed off there. Boldy fires one high. The Wild press. Kassian can't bury one in close with 1:32 left. There's another Coyotes power play. Krause can't bury one on a net drive. Ritchie fans on one at the horn, so that power play rolls over into the second period, where the Wild do finish the kill. Kaprizov would open the scoring at 3:39. It was a tic-tac-toe play, and he wired it. What's important on this one, too, is Zuccarello, I think that was a 3-minute shift for him, and he still had the energy for this. Addison with the other assist. That is Kalen Addison. During the redraft video that posted last week, yeah, I said Caleb. And it's one of those things that's easy. It's easy to say Caleb instead of Kalen, so because I don't think I've ever met anybody named Kalen. But anyways, these things happen. I've honestly never had a friend named Kirill either. So, not that there's anything wrong with that. I do not judge. So, 1-0 Minnesota. I don't even know what that means. So, the Coyotes press to answer. The Wild would press at 6.5 minutes, and the shots were definitely in their favor. Sorry, I had to pause there for a cough. I'm still getting over what I had last week. Yeah, it's quite the week for me. So the shots are 8-1 for the Wild at 8 minutes. The Coyotes end up getting a power play, though, and they score on it. So it's one of those things where there's no opportunities for Arizona. It's not getting near the Minnesota net, and then they end up scoring to tie it. It's Chychrun from Hayden and Keller at 9:26. The Wild would press with 6 minutes left. Boldy's denied and close. There's momentum for the Wild, but Vejmelka's holding late in that period. So going into the third, it is tied. Not for long into the third, though, on a turnover, Brodin buries a rebound. And I mean, that rebound came way out. Eriksson, Ek, and Hartman with the assists at 1:40. The Wild then press for another. The shots on net, though, are 7 apiece at 8 minutes. And the Coyotes start picking up that offensive zone time. This may have been Minnesota sitting back a little bit too much or underestimating Arizona. And I've talked about how dangerous that could be. Kassian has a net feed that's held. And then at 9:35, Chychrun wires one glove side. It was under the glove, over the pad. Michelli and Valimaki with the assist there. Michelli, that's his 20th assist of the season. Do not underestimate this rookie. Coyotes then get a power play. It becomes 1 minute and 5 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. And then McBain scores from Fisher and Nemeth at 13:12. That was on a rush. That was off of a turnover as well. So then after that, Keller nearly adds another. So the momentum is completely with Arizona at this point. 2:34 left. The Wild get a power play. Zuccarello has a tip that's held. 1:13 left. A timeout by the Wild. That allows them to rest their power play and get the goaltender on the bench. Vejmelka holds an Eriksson Ek tip as the PK ends. And Arizona holds on. They win 3-2. They go to 17-28-6 with the win. For Minnesota's 27-18-4 with the loss. And this is a big loss for Minnesota. Really, honestly. Big loss for them. Could be huge. As the dog race in the West continues, this could be a huge loss. So the shots, 14-5 Arizona in the first, 14-7 Minnesota in the second, 16-15 Minnesota in the third. Final shots, 36-35 Arizona. Power plays, Minnesota 0 for 4, Arizona 1 for 6. Hits, 26-21 for Minnesota. Fleury saved 33 out of 36. Vejmelka saved 33 out of 35. And there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. I'm very glad to be back. I do feel refreshed despite the tinnitus and the coughing and all that. But I do feel refreshed. I'm glad to be back. It's nice to be home. And it's nice to see the hockey back in action. The real hockey. And I will talk about the All-Star weekend and everything people are talking about in a video tomorrow. I do have some opinions. I will be discussing that. But let me know your thoughts about these games tonight in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.